Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Wind River. And as always, we do it on these ones. I'll read you the overview as provided by Google. I just finished watching this one on Freevee, on Prime Video, whatever that is. But I'll be reading that, giving you my overall impressions and grade. After that, you're going to shut off the video. This one's getting recommended. So if you've not seen this movie, I would definitely recommend this one. But then after that, we'll be doing our plot synopsis and character development. Similar movies and major themes. No, it's just a crime drama or crime thriller that I thought was really good. So, we have Corey Lambert is a wildlife officer who finds the body of an 18-year-old woman on an American Indian reservation in snowy Wyoming. When the autopsy reveals that she was raped, FBI agent Jane Banner arrives to investigate. Teaming up with Lambert as a guide, the duo soon find that their lives are in danger while trying to solve the mystery of the teen's death. It was released August 30th, 2017. It says in France. I don't know why it says France. It's definitely an English movie. I don't know. But regardless, runtime, hour and 47 minutes, labeled as a mystery thriller, rated R, released in 2017. 87% liked it on Google, 3.8 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Google says why to watch, harrowing, thrilling, and bleak. Yeah, I thought, again, it's a murder mystery. It says it's inspired by true events. But I just thought the characterizations were really strong. The Corey Lambert is played by Jeremy Renner, which Jeremy Renner in Snow Equipments hasn't gone too well all the times. But this movie does alright in the snowmobiles. but regardless, Jeremy Renner plays that. Gil Birmingham, which I've not ironically, but I actually saw this movie when it came out, really liked it, it popped back up, so I was like, this would be a good one to recommend. But Martin Hansen's played by Gil Birmingham, which is big, he was in Hell or High Water, as well as the Yellowstone, but this is probably the first time I think this was the first movie I've seen with him in it. So you have those people. Any other major actors? Elizabeth Olsen plays Jane Banner. Regardless, I thought it was really gritty. I thought the tone of the entire piece, the cinematography, just the feeling that you get from it, it was very bleak, like Google says, but very gritty, very real, very raw. And so the overall tone, I thought the characterizations were all strong, and the plot moved along well. And again, for being a rather dull genre for me, murder mystery or crime thing, which is a dime a dozen, I thought this one was really well done. So I'm just gonna give this a solid A. Definitely recommend this one for some entertainment. So if you've not watched it, I definitely recommend this one. We'll be discussing plot synopsis with spoiler alerts. So the movie opens up and you just see this girl running across the snow in her bare feet. And again, it's in Wyoming, it's real snowy, and it's on like an Indian reservation, so it's kind of the western-y type of feel. And so the characterizations that you have is you have Corey Lambert. He has an ex-wife, Wilma Lambert. They have a son, Casey Lambert. They did have a daughter, which we learn about later on. And then you have, again, Jane Banner comes in, she's the FBI. Martin Hansen, he's the father of Natalie Hansen, who's a daughter So after the opening scene, you see a chick running through, and then you get the title screen of Wind River. Wind River's an Indian reservation. And so you get introduced to Corey Lambert. He's shooting some coyotes, as they call them, coyotes. But he's like a wildlife enforcer team. Really kind of similar to like John Dutton in Yellowstone. Like, rewatching this one, the dynamic is really similar because he's a white dude married to a Native American lady, just like Casey and whoever Dutton is. But regardless, he's a wildlife dude where he's just taking out coyotes that are just harming livestock. And so he gets called to Martin Hansen's house, who's, again, you literally learn that they're friends and they've bonded. So you don't learn till later on, but Corey Lambert has lost a daughter, and he basically she was 16, they had a party, had a bunch of friends come over, and then he says, the way he tells it is, had some friends come over, then some more people came over, and then some not friends came over, and then after that, I really don't know what happened. And so he's lost a daughter, a young daughter as well, but he goes over to Martin Hansen's house, who's had a steer or cow be killed by these mountain lions. So Corey's his job is to kill these 3 mountain lions or tigers or whatever. And so he goes up there, finds the steer, and then also sees blood trails, follows it up farther, and then finds the body of Natalie Hansen. Corey again, Natalie and Martin Hansen, or Corey Lambert's daughter, who's passed, I forget her name. She's not really in the movie at all. But his daughter, Natalie Hansen, were friends. And so you can tell Martin and Corey have bonded over the loss of his daughter. And so he finds the body, he immediately recognizes it as Natalie Hansen, and then they have to call in, they take an autopsy, who's played by Dr. Whitehurst, who I believe was the same guy as the Bridge dude, the David Tate character. But regardless, he's the autopsy. He's basically like, she was clearly raped, but for the cause of death, I can't put on homicide because her lungs exploded from breathing in the cold air and like negative 20 degrees or something. And so the cause of death, they're all clearly aware it's a murder, a rape murder, but they can't put on the cause of death, which causes jurisdiction problems. But so Jane Banner arrives. Once it's a homicide, the FBI gets called in. Jane Banner shows up. She's got some nice cheeks, but she doesn't have clothes appropriate for the weather. So the Hansens help Jane, get proper clothing on. See some butt cheeks, look pretty nice. But regardless, so she gets the right clothing, and they go investigate the body. And again, this is before the Dr. Whitehurst, but she's on the scene now, and she's the one that has the jurisdiction problems by not having the death certificate call it a homicide. And so the reservation police is very, very small, and she asks if Corey Lambert can help her because he's his tracker and he knows the land really well. And so he agrees to do that. So where they find her is because she's barefoot. She's like 5 miles from this drilling oil site, and she's like 6 miles from these 2 brothers called the Little Feathers. The Hansens. I don't have the mom up here. She has a minor role, but Corey goes and tells him the news. Once Jane gets on the scene, she wants to talk to the wife, and Martin's pretty stoic. He goes to talk to the wife, and the wife's just cutting herself. And so pretty gritty scene. And then, but now they have the first people they're wanting to question, or people of interest, are the Little Feathers. There's 2 people, and again, showing the deprivation and degradation on Indian reservations, where a lot of them live without electricity, running water, heavy alcoholism, drug abuse, stuff like that. And so Martin's other son, Chip Hansen, he's basically just hanging out with these Little Feathers right down the road, and Martin's basically, he's gone. He's, lost to drugs. And so they go to investigate there. They have Sam Littlefeather, and there's another one, the 2 brothers, and then Chip stay in this rundown house or abandoned building place. And so they go to talk to him. Sam Littlefeather comes out. It's Jane and there's a reservation dude that I haven't written down up here, but the main reservation police guy, I can't tell from the pictures, maybe Ben Shoyo probably. So Ben Shoyo, but he's the reservation deputy. They go to question the Little Feathers. He's like, he's clearly high. Sam opens the door, and he's like, I think I have something for my parole officer. And they're like, yeah, no, don't reach for anything, don't reach for anything. And then he pulls out like bear repellent and just sprays them in the face. And so Corey Lambert's with him. He runs out back. Both Ben Shoyo and Jane Banner are heavily dazed from this bear repellent, and Corey Lambert knocks Chip Hansen and the other Little Feather down with a shovel out back, and Jane pursues Sam Littlefeather into the house. Sam Littlefeather now has a shotgun, tries to shoot at her, and she shoots him. And Ben Shoyo's like, let's just leave him. He's gonna die. He's still kind of alive after like 5, 6, 7 shots after a mad dump to the chest. And Jane's like, no, he's still alive. We gotta call it in or do something. He's just like, no, he's gonna die, and then he just like dies. And so Sam Littlefeather's killed. The other Littlefeather gets arrested. He again super minor role. But Chip Hansen or Corey Lambert's again doesn't have actual authority in terms of law. And so for some reason, if he's not allowed, he knows these people his whole life. But Jane Banner's like, if you question him and tell me it's not admissible in court, or some jurisdictional legality. So Corey ends up talking to him, and basically all he learns is that the Natalie's boyfriend, she had a boyfriend that was a white guy that was older than her, and his name was Matt. And so Corey and Chip have a little back and forth about being, Corey's like, what happened to you? What happened to you? You got an arm, you could have gone to college, blah, blah, blah. And Chip's just like, look at the reality of living on a reservation. This is a shithole. And so they kind of have, again, it's all very nostalgic and gritty, and I think the tone throughout the characterizations are very strong. And so he just learns the name of the boyfriend from Matt, that is Matt. Corey and Jane warm back up at Corey's little, it's like a cabin or a hut or house or something. And this is when you learn about Corey's daughter being lost, about the party and whatnot. Because Jane's not certain why Corey's helping her. And then at this point, the characterization, the development of the relationship is Jane now has Corey's trust because of his background. He's obviously intimately related to the community as well as losing a daughter, so he wants to find out who did it and bring it to a close. And so the next day, after they talked to the Little Feathers, it's not even like it's not even necessarily sure if they crossed them off the list. It's just the next scenes are pretty interesting. But regardless, they're going to go up to this drilling well and interrogate these people or question these people about their drilling and whatnot. And so they go to do that. Corey, Jane, and the whole reservation police department, which is like 6-7 people. And so you have about 8 people there, and then this security team who is like basically private security for an oil drilling well or something. And so they go up there. I think Pete Mickens. No, he's like the big bad guy. They're all pretty bad guys. The what's his name's the security team. And so they go up there. Corey Lambert's kind of like the sniper. He's kind of like going out the longer route or like looking down on them. But they get there. They question. One of these guys. Who was it? His name was probably Curtis. I think Hugh Dillon's character. But just the lead security guy. And so they start questioning him. They don't really have too much tense interactions. And then it's like in Wyoming, it's just like worker trailers. And so they're going to walk up to this trailer to see, because Natalie's boyfriend's named Matt, and Jane gets that information from a fingerprint. For his last name, doesn't matter. But Matt and Pete and somebody else, I think the Curtis, all kind of like bunk together or live together in this trailer for work. And so they go up there, and as they're like walking towards them, one of the reservation police just like catches on to the security guys, like trying to like surround them and trying to like flank them. And so they all pull guns. It's all real big tense scene. And then Jane, all yelling about who has jurisdiction because they're on a reservation, blah blah blah. And Jane's like, I'm the only federal employee or law enforcement here, so I have the only authority. She de-escalates the situation, and they go to knock on Pete's door. And so as they go to do that, and it is minor plot development, but as Jeremy Renner's character is going up on the ridge of this mountain, he sees the 3 mountain lions that he's supposed to kill, and doesn't. So, but this is super minor. But regardless, they go to knock on the door. And at which point you get a flashback scene. Jane literally knocks on the door, and it transitions to the night in which Natalie was killed, and which I thought was a great cinematic transition. And basically, Matt, again, I don't know, he's 35, she's 18. They're seemingly in love. They're talking about, they're in this trailer. The rest of the work crew is supposed to be in town for the night. So her friend had dropped her off. And, they're talking about how much they like each other, or like where they're going to go move to. And then they hear snowmobiles pull back up, and it's the work crew returning from a night out of drinking. They're all pretty belligerent, all pretty drunk. That's when you meet Pete Mickens. He comes in, Natalie's in her underwear, and Matt has pants on but no shirt on. So Pete comes in, and they have a little screen divider, and they try to shut that. Natalie puts her clothes on as fast as possible. But Pete's drunk. He's like, "Oh, what you guys doing in here? What y'all ins doing in here?" And so it's like, "Smells like some sex." And so he pushes the boundary a little too far. And then Matt's like, telling the other work crews, like, "Hey, get Pete out of here, get this guy out of here." Pete keeps going after it. At which point, like, he's like, is she naked? Keeps pushing the boundary. Matt kicks him, I believe. Again, not too violent yet, but kicks him. And then Pete's like, "Oh, sorry, man." And then he like tries to like pull her pants down. At which point Matt's just like, let's fucking go. And so they tussle for a little bit. The rest of the drunk work crew side with Pete. They pull Matt off of him, and they just basically beat him to death in the trailer. And so Natalie wakes up. She's getting raped by Pete. Matt comes out of nowhere again and knocks him off of her. Then gets beaten to death, and Natalie runs away. And so you've seen the what the major plot development is. She was raped and assaulted by these workmen, as opposed to the little feathers, and she just runs away. And so again, kind of like the somber, gritty part is Corey Lambert is telling Martin Hanson and Jane Banner she was a fighter, wherever she came from. I guarantee you she ran further. And so because it just a story about survival and about loss and grief and whatnot. And so that's now as the viewer completely what's happening, and then you flash forward to when Jane is literally knocking on Pete's door, and Curtis is like, "Hey Pete, the FBI's here," right in front of the door. At which point the reservation police picks up on what's going on. And he's like, "Jane, get away from the door!" And then bam, shotgun shell comes through the door, hits Jane in her bulletproof vest. And again, there's 8 security workers and 8 law enforcement people. And they're all shooting each other. So I thought it was finally an actual realistic fight scene where it's everyone's fucking hit and everyone's dead, because again, I hate action movies or crime shows when they all have guns pointed and then it's just one person can get away, or it's just you're all probably gonna just kill each other. And so that's pretty much what happens. Again, Jane kind of begin big fight scene. Everyone's shooting each other. She kind of scurries underneath the trailer. Corey, all of the reservation police are down. And there's a couple of the security guys left, 2 or 3 of them that are still fighting. And then Corey Lambert just starts lighting them up from the ridge with his powerful, elk killing, bear killing rifle. I really like the rifle Corey had in this movie, whatever it was. I'm not a big gun guy, but I thought it was a cool looking, powerful rifle. But so that happens. And then Corey helps Natalie, and once all the ops are down, neutralize the threat. Corey comes down from the ridge, helps Natalie, and Pete. During all of this, everyone's down besides Natalie and Pete, and he escapes out the back. But again, Corey knows the land, so it's he's gonna be able to track him down. So Corey comes in and assists Natalie, gets her some help, gets her a radio to call the backup helicopter, life support, whatever. And Corey Lambert's to Natalie, I can't just let this guy, I'm not going to bring this guy in. And she's like, I know, go get him. And so he tracks him down, knocks him out, and then he wakes back up. Corey knocks out Pete, they chase him a little bit, knocks him out with the butt of his gun, and then wake back up. And Corey had taken him, 6 miles away from the nearest road. He's I'm going to give you the same chance she had. So he takes off his shoes. And then Pete's even as the villain, I thought Pete's presentation was good of just being a rapist, a gritty blue collar worker. I just thought the performances from all the characters were good. But so Corey has Pete, he fires off with the rifle around right by his head, and he's I want you to run. And so Pete runs, 500 yards, and then collapses from his lungs. His lungs explode just like Natalie's, and he bleeds out. And so now all of the ops have been neutralized. Pretty much all the reservation police have been killed. Jane is in the hospital, and Corey visits her. And then again, Corey's you survived. Comments about survival, and Jane's no, I just got lucky. And so again, I thought it was very realistic throughout the entire piece. And then the final kind of resolution is Corey going to, have resolution with Martin. And so they go there, they're just kind of sitting there by a rusted swing set outside Martin's house out back. He's got his war paint on. It's just, mourning, and made up his own war paint. And so they talk. Martin's no, I heard one of them got away. And Corey's nah, no, he didn't. And so then Martin's how did he go out? And Corey's with a whimper. And so that's kind of the end resolution. And also, Martin's son, Chip, has called him from the station or something. I guess it's the first time he's called him in a year. And so basically it seems like Chip wants to turn his life around and reconnect, or just move forward with his life and not be a drug addict with the little feathers. And so that's really the resolution of the movie. Again, I just thought it was really well done, especially for like a crime thriller drama, which has been done a million times. Characterizations were really strong. Jeremy Renner being good with snow equipment, maybe not so realistic, but similar movie, major themes, no. I thought the tone, the characterizations, the plot development was all very, very solid. So A overall, definitely recommend this one, and thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one. Signing out. Sweet. Another movie review. Please let me have constitutional rights before I'm fucking 40 years old. I'm just bleeding out over here financially, and there's nothing I can do. I have a terrible fucking back. I am applying to jobs. I'm trying to collect my property. I have feds and academics that know exactly what's going on, asking me, why are you trying to get a job? And then I have a fucking family that doesn't support anything I do, financially or just helping me network or do anything. And so I've been scapegoated by a community of people, and I need somebody to help me at some point of time. My life will never change unless people change their behavior, and they can't. So I'll keep doing movie reviews, reading books, music production, trying to start businesses that I already own, try to get jobs, try to do anything, just fucking anything, so I can stop being miserable all day because of crime. But nobody changes their behavior, no one gives a fuck. So I'll see you on the next movie review.